Good morning. Welcome to this lesson. Today I'm going to teach science. My name is teacher Edwin Yose, and I will take you in class 7 work under the topic environment. So the topic environment, it covers class 7 work. Even the candidates, as you are revising at home, it is good as you'll remind yourself of the things that you learned previously. So today, the lesson today is science, and I want to talk about environment. This topic is not commonly tested all over. It is not tested all over other classes, but it is mostly tested in standard 7 and 8. In class 2, they just define the word environment, but today, the key objectives today, by the end of the lesson today, we have some objectives that I want you to partake in. The main objectives of this lesson today: 1, you are supposed as a candidate or a standard 7 student to define the term environment. Define the term environment. Number 2, we are supposed to state or outline the major components of environment. Major components of environment. And then the third objective after this one, you are supposed to state the minor components of environment. State the minor components of environment. Components of environment. So the time that we have today, we want to learn what environment is. We shall state and explain or outline the major components of environment. The keyword here is major. And then we shall also know the minor components of environment. So these are the key areas, because majority of the learners, they have got a problem when it comes to differentiating between the major components and the minor components of environment. So let us just continue. We can begin from here. So environment, in standard 7, we learn about the components of environment. So the subtopic today is components of environment. So what is environment? Environment in standard 7 or in standard 2, they define the word environment as the surrounding of a living organism. Environment is the surrounding of a living organism. Of any living organism. Living organism is also known as a living thing. So when you hear the word organism, it's the same as a living thing. So anything that surrounds a living thing, we call it environment. And that thing that surrounds it, it can either be living or dead. So that thing that surrounds it, it can either be living, it can be either a living component, or it can also be dead. So in environment, because they are living things, if it is a spider, anything that surrounds it, maybe it lives in a web, or that web is inside the house. So that house, because it is a dead thing, it is a non-living thing. That's why we call it the surrounding of that living thing. So environment is the surrounding of any living organism. So that thing, mark this one, it can either be a living thing or a dead thing. In classes, right now we don't have learners in school. So without any living thing in that class, we cannot call it environment. But when you go inside the class, you can find wasps are inside there. So that wasp make that environment complete because a living thing is inside there. So the living component of environment, the living environment, we call it the living environment. Those things that have life, the living environment is called biotic. So the living component of environment, we call it biotic. Biotic is a scientific term. When you go to high school, the word biology, they usually say biology is the study of living things. So the word bio means life. Bio means life. So it is something that has life. So when we talk about the biotic things, the biotic factors, this one comprises of the living components of environment, those things that have life. So the non-living environment, non-living environment is the one that we call it abiotic or abiotic. Is called abiotic. So you can see the difference. When it is just biotic, we don't have an A that begins on the left. That one is the living thing because the word bio means life. When they add an A, it means that life has gone. So it is non-living component. So under this one, you can realize we can even group from here before we go downwards the lesson. So you can realize that human beings are abiotic. Plants are abiotic. When we talk about stones are abiotic because they are non-living things. And remember all these things here, even when you look at soil, soil is non-living. So it is under abiotic because they are the one that surround us in this environment. So let us continue and we want to look at the various things. There are various things that surround us. 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 When I talk about surrounding us, now I'm taking as the persona because we have life and we can talk. Not all things that have life talk, but I'm just using as an example. We have some various things that surround us, namely the first one here. This one of the things that surround us, one, I have got plants. Plants surround us. Two, we have got animals. Animals surround us. When you talk about animals, even a housefly is an animal. A wasp is an animal. A mosquito is an animal. A tick is an animal. Cow, dogs, they are all over. Even a lion. And then we have got soil. Soil surrounds us. We have got air, it surrounds us. We have got water that surrounds us. We have got something again called heat. Heat surrounds us. We know the main source of heat and light is sun. So light and heat, they surround us. There are some things like buildings. They also surround us because we live in a building. We have got some things here called stones. They surround us. There are some things like food. They surround us. So you will find we have got also some things, some books, they have written the word tools. So tools, when you talk about tools, we talk about those simple tools that we learn in science. So simple tools surround us. Foods, they surround us. The stones surround us because we use these stones for construction. So they surround us. We find them in this environment. So we are the living things that we take these things and then we use them. Light, the main source of light is from the sun. It surrounds us. We have got heat, it surrounds us. So all these things here, and we have got many of them, they are the one that comprises of the environment because they surround any living organism. So in an exam, they can ask you, the surrounding of a bacteria is known as You know that bacteria is a living thing because it helps in decomposition. So the surrounding of a bacteria, it is called environment. The surrounding of a fungi, under standard 5, the topic known as plants, we learned that examples of non-green plants, you have got fungi and bacteria. So fungi, because it is a non-green plant, and you know plants are living things. So the surrounding of a fungi, we group it as environment. So these components of environments can be grouped into two categories. So these components of environment, the one I have listed here, that surround us, they can be grouped into two categories. So which categories are those ones? They can be grouped into two. They can be grouped into two categories. And the first category that they can be grouped into, these ones that I have listed here. One, we have got the one that we call them major components of environment. The first category, we call it major components of environment. And then the second category that they can be grouped into, these ones that I have highlighted here, we have got the minor components of environment. Again, I said the objectives, we shall know the definition of the word environment, which is here. We can state and outline the major components, and we shall explain them. That is the main place that is tested in exam. And then we shall state the minor components of environment. In short, we are supposed to differentiate the major components of environment and the minor components of environment. So let us begin by looking at the first one, known as major components of environment. The major components of environment. Which one are they? And why do they give it the name major? Major components of environment. Okay? A little bit. Major components of environment. Major components of environment. When we talk about major, we can use an example from the members of parliament. During election, you realize that we have got some members who represent different levels. So you'll find that we have got majority leader in the parliament. Majority leader represents that group whereby it is represented by majority of the members of parliament, and mostly you can see it is from the government level. The opposition level, because they have few members, we call the leader there the leader of minority. So the word major comes from the word majority. The word minor comes from the word minority. Major means they are found in plenty or in abundance. So the major components of environment, they are mainly five. They are mainly five. They are mainly five. Namely, these major components of environment are just five in number. The first one is this one that we call, I usually write something small here. I use the word acronym known as PASO. PASO. The major components of environment, they are just five. And if you know them, the rest are grouped as minor components of environment. So the first one, letter P stands for plants. Letter S stands for animals. Letter S stands for soil. And then this one stands for air. And then this one stands for water. So the major components of environment, we have got five of them. So the first one is plants. If you look in the environment, you realize that we are surrounded by trees, we are surrounded by flowers, grass. So those ones are plants and they are abundant. if you look at animals, human beings are a lot. If you look at small organisms, even if you go inside the soil, we have got some animals that live inside the soil. In water, we have got some aquatic animals. So soil, it covers the earth's surface in relation to what? Water. And then you have got air that is found everywhere. That's why we group these 5 as the major components of environment. Under these major components of environment, we realize that they can also be grouped into 2. If you look at soil, it is not a living thing. Air is not a living thing. Water is not a living thing. So you realize that plants and animals, these plants and animals are the living components, of environment. So the living components of environment, mainly we have got plants and animals. Under this majority, so these living things, so the living components of environment, we group it as biotic. So in other words, we can say the biotic components of environment, are, we have got plants and animals. Remember I said bio means life. So it is only animals and plants that have got life. And we know animals we have a lot. So if they ask you the surrounding of an earthworm, it is known as earthworm. You can remember, you can recall, it is a living thing. And it is an animal that does not have legs. We group it as annelids. So because it is an annelid, so we say it is a biotic component. So it is, so earthworm, it is a living thing, so it is biotic, it has life. The surrounding of an algae is a plant, green non-flowering plant. Because it is a plant, so it is a biotic component. So when we look at these ones, these 5 major components of environment, so we have got the only 2 that are abiotic. So it means the non-biotic components of environment now here, non-biotic components, non-biotic, or we call them, let me just use the word abiotic. The abiotic components of environment are abiotic components of environment. The keyword there is abiotic components of environment. Are, so we have one, we just go with this one, soil. The second one is air, and the third one is water. Despite the fact that they are in plenty, air is everywhere, it is not a living component. Water covers the largest earth surface. It is a biotic component of environment. It is a non-living thing. So we have got many. So under the major components of environment, the ones that are abiotic, we have soil, air, and water. I think so far we are okay. Now I can go to the minor components of environment. So the second category, we have got the minor components of environment. Remember I said the word minor means a little. Components of environment. So I think we have made the work very simple. These things that surround us here, I began with the plants, animals, soil, air, water. And I believe I began with the majority ones, the major. So the first 5, we group them as the major components. And then the rest, if you just know the major components per se, the rest, anything that is added there, we know it is a minor component of environment. But examiners, sometimes they want to trick learners. They can ask you, which one of the following is a major component of environment? they can place choice A. They place there something like a tick. Choice B, they place there building. Choice C, they can place there something like heat. And then choice D, they place there something like sound. Which one is a major component of environment? Tick, building, heat, sound. I think they are testing you if you can recall what you learned. You can see tick is there. If you look at these things that surround us, a learner can think that tick is not under these things. But remember, tick is an animal. And remember, it is an arachnid. Because it has got 8 legs, it is arachnid. And because it is an animal, it means this one is a living thing. I can write here this one is an animal. So when they ask which one is a major component, the answer will become definitely a tick because it is an animal. So the minor components of environment. 1, we have got heat. Many learners make a mistake. They think heat is a major component. 2, we have got light. We know light. God said, let there be light, and it was there. But remember, this light separates darkness. He brought this light to separate darkness, and he made day and night. So this light can be seen during the day, but at night we cannot see it. Although we have stars, but they just produce a little light because they are far. And then we have got another thing that is minor, sound. These three things here, heat, light, sound. Mostly, the learners will make a mistake by listing them as the major components, but they are under minor component. Sound, we make sound, but we cannot make sound throughout. Animals produce sound, and it is a topic. Sounds that are made by different animals, like a frog croaks, an elephant trumpets, but that sound, we group it as a minor component of environment. Number 4, we have got buildings. Buildings are all over in towns, but if you go to rural areas, they are scattered. Number 5, we have got tools. These ones, we talk about the simple tools or simple machines. Number 6, we have got something called food. Food when we cook. Remember, a learner can think like this. Plants are the ones that give us food. So this food, we can group it as a major component of environment. My answer to that one is no, because this food, when we harvest it, it is not categorized as a living thing. Now it is a non-living thing. So that's why we group it as a minor component of environment. So minor components, you have got food there. And then lastly, I can add there stones because I listed it here. I think so far we are okay. Now, under the last objective, we want to look at now these major components of environment, the 5 major components of environment, one by one. How are they in this environment, and how are they meaningful to us, and what is the purpose of them in the environment? So I shall begin by looking at the first major component of environment, which is known as air. I'll begin by looking at the first major component of environment, and that component is known as air. 1, we know that air is found everywhere, is everywhere. Why is it everywhere? Because it surrounds us. Air is everywhere. In short, it is the most abundant component. It is the most abundant component of environment. It is the most abundant component of the environment. In this category, many learners confuse water and air. Between water and air. Air, because it is found everywhere, that's why we say it is the most abundant component. Because when you go inside water, you'll find air. These plants here, when they want to make their own food, they need this air. Animals, they need air. So all these components of environment, soil, there is air inside. So we'll find that because it is everywhere, so that's why it is the most abundant. Okay, the word abundant, it means it is found in plenty. Number 3, air is a mixture of gases. Air is a mixture of gases. This air, in science, we usually say that we breathe in air. We don't breathe in oxygen, but we breathe in air. So that's why we say air is a mixture of gases. Some of these gases include, 1, some of these gases that comprises of air. 1, we have got oxygen, and we know oxygen occupies 21% of the environment. 2, we have got this one known as carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide occupies 0.03% of the air, okay? And then 3, we have got another component of air known as inert gases. Inert gases is also known as rare gases, or it is also known as noble gases. Inert gases comprises of 0.97% of the air. And then lastly, it is also composed of another gas known as nitrogen. Nitrogen is the one that occupies 78% of the environment. So this air, you can see it is very useful. 1, we breathe in. In Spotlight Science Class 8, but I'm in Standard 7, you realize they ask a question. Which 2 gases do we breathe the same percentage, and also do you breathe in the same percentage and also breathe out the same percentage? First of all, remember, we breathe in all these components of air, but it is only 2 gases that are used in the respiratory system or the breathing system. And those 2 gases are oxygen and carbon dioxide. So we breathe in inert gases, we breathe in nitrogen, so we breathe in 0.97% of inert gas. Because it is not part of the respiratory gas, we also breathe out the same percent, which is 0.97%. We breathe in 78% of nitrogen, but because it is not a respiratory gas in us, we also breathe out the same percentage. So the same percent of inert gas and the nitrogen that we breathe in, it is the same percentage that we breathe out. In other words, oxygen, we breathe in 21%. Oxygen, we breathe in 21% of it. Because it is needed in the body, only 5% is used in the body. And then we breathe out 16% of it. So we don't consume all of it. We breathe in 21% of oxygen. Only 5% is used in the body. And then we breathe out 16% of it. Carbon dioxide, remember, it is part of the air, and we breathe in air. We breathe in 0.03% of this carbon dioxide. And because it is the waste gas from the body, we know that the main vein, which is vena cava, it transports carbon dioxide from all parts of the body towards the lungs, so that from the body parts via the pulmonary artery towards the lungs, so that it can be breathed out. So because it is a waste gas from the body, we breathe out 4% of carbon dioxide. I think I'm now okay there. So we breathe in 21% of oxygen, we breathe out 16% of oxygen. Only 5% is used. We breathe in 0.03% of carbon dioxide, and because it is a waste gas, I know some will ask which percent is used. Carbon dioxide is not used in the body. It is a waste gas, so it must come outside our body. So we breathe out 4% of it, and you can see the percentage of carbon dioxide increases from 0.03 to 4%. So these gases, because air is found everywhere in all components, you can find this air is found in soil. So air can be found in soil. It can be found in water. It is found in air is found in one, you can find it in soil. In standard 4, we learned about the components of soil. And the components of soil, we said we have got humus, or in the syllabus they use the word organic matter. Organic matter. The components of soil in standard 4, we have got humus or organic matter, we have got water, we have got air, and then we have got mineral particles, and then we have got the living organisms or the living things, organisms. So it is true to say that air is found in soil, because in standard 4, when we wanted to find the presence of air in soil, we took soil, which is dry, you place in a container. This is a lump of soil. You place in a container that has got water. The observation, you will see bubbles of air coming out. So when you see air bubbles or bubbles of air, you know that there is presence of air in the soil. So it is true to say that air is found in soil. 2, it is also found in water. Why is it found in water? We have got some animals that live in water. Aquatic animals, they obtain oxygen from this water itself, because water itself has got air. In standard 3, there was a topic on testing whether there is presence of air in water. You take water, you place on a tin or a sufuria, and then you place on a source of heat. This one is a source of heat. When you heat it, after some times, before it reaches the boiling point, you will see some air bubbles on the sufuria. On the sufuria, on the sides of the sufuria, or on the sides of the sides of the tin, you will see the bubbles of air. Primary science, they use the word bubbles of air. So because of these bubbles, you know that there is presence of air in water. So it is true to say this air is found in water. This air again is found in plants. Remember plants. Plants, they give us carbon dioxide. And then in other turn, they give us oxygen, and then they use carbon dioxide. So they produce oxygen. In short, the byproduct of photosynthesis, we know it is oxygen. The raw product of photosynthesis is what we call carbon dioxide. And then we have got animals. We as animals, we know we breathe out carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide is still part of air. It is here. So because it is part of air, when animals breathe out, then plants use that carbon dioxide, and it is green plants that use it in the process known as photosynthesis. So we find this air in these 4 other components. It is found in soil, it is found in water, and then it is found in plants, and lastly in animals. So the last one you can say, animals breathe in oxygen, and then they breathe out carbon dioxide. I think I have elaborated that one. The next one I said, green plants, they use carbon dioxide. These green plants, they use carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. And then I also said, animals and plants, these two, they need oxygen for respiration. These animals and plants here, these two animals, these two living components, biotic, they need oxygen for respiration. Why do they need oxygen for respiration? Respiration is the breakdown of food, okay? Some of us use it as the breathing system because in standard 5 they say breathing system is known as respiration. But when you march ahead as your pre-candidates, you realize respiration is another name. There is a question they usually ask. The main reason why it is not advisable to place a plant in the bedroom at night. Why is it? It is risky. You are not supposed to place any plant, a potted plant. Potted plant, it means the one that you have planted in a vase. Maybe it is a flower you have placed in a flower vase and it is still alive. This one here. The main reason why it is discouraged, you place these potted plants in the bedroom. Why? During nighttime or at night, plants breathe out carbon dioxide and then they breathe in oxygen. Remember, at night, photosynthesis does not take place. So that's why it is true to say, and remember, animals are constant. So animals, we breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide. So at night, if you place a plant in the bedroom, you will now compete for that oxygen because all of you, we are using that oxygen. And remember, because this plant, it has nothing to lose. You are the one who can suffocate. So that's why it is risky for us human beings to place these plants in the bedroom at night. You'll find also that leguminous plants use nitrogen to make proteins. When you talk about leguminous plants, okay, allow me to write it. Leguminous plants, they use nitrogen. Leguminous plants use nitrogen to make proteins. Leguminous plants, they use nitrogen to make proteins. Nitrogen occupies 78%. This 78%, it is mainly used by these leguminous plants. Legumes are those plants that we find the seeds inside a pod. We have got, this one is a seed, this one is a pod, and then inside it we have got some seeds here. We learned in standard 4 under food crops, we have got this food crop known as legumes. So legumes are those plants that we find the seeds inside a pod. So this one is pod, and then these ones are seeds. And we know these legumes are mostly dicots. So when they want to make proteins, they are sources of proteins. They use this gas known as nitrogen to make it. Okay, I was avoiding to look at the uses of these gases, but I believe I can go through them very fast. So the use of oxygen, oxygen is used for 3 purposes, mainly for 4. In the syllabus, there are just 3. I usually write B, B, G. It is used for breathing. We breathe in oxygen. It is used for burning. Some books, they use the word combustion. And then it is used during germination. And then lastly, some books, they also add there oxygen because it supports rusting. It is also used in rusting, but that one is not the usefulness. It is a disadvantage of oxygen. So the main disadvantage of oxygen is that it support what we call rusting. When we come to uses of carbon dioxide, uses of carbon dioxide. Uses of carbon dioxide. The main ones that are in the syllabus, we have got a lot. Uses of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, I usually write triple P. It is used for preserving soft drinks. Preserving soft drinks. Soft drinks. And some books, they use the word fizzy drinks. So it is used for preserving soft drinks or fizzy drinks. Number 2, it is used to put off fire. Put off fire, is it put off or put out? Put off fire. Or some books, they use to extinguish fire. Number 3, this oxygen is used for photosynthesis. photosynthesis. But in primary science, they use the word making of plant food. Making plant food. That's why I said here, leguminous plants, they use nitrogen to make proteins. So these proteins are very nutritious. So it is a nutrient that is found in the food. And then when you come to the uses of inert gases are also known as noble gases or rare gases. We have got different examples of inert gases. We have got different examples of these inert gases, but we can just write a few. The first one, we have got this one known as helium. Helium is an example of inert gas. Number two, we have got this another example known as neon is an inert gas. We have got argon is an inert gas. We have got krypton, an inert gas. And then you have got xenon, which is an inert gas. Mostly, we just use a general word. Inert gases, they are used in making electric bulbs. Simple as that. But if you go into details, we can get that this also, they have got many, many other uses. So, rare gases is used in electric and advertising bulbs. And then lastly, under air, air is used directly by animals and plants. Air is used directly by animals and plants. Air is used directly by air. Let me use by animals, I mean by animals and plants. So this air, animals use it directly. Why? Animals, if it is animals like us, we breathe in oxygen directly. It is found in this air. Plants, if it is green plants, they use carbon dioxide to make food. So they use that carbon dioxide directly. So the two components that use air directly, we have got plants and animals. I think I am okay there. The next one, we go to the second component of environment known as water. So water is the next major component of environment. Okay, so this water, it covers the largest Earth's surface. It covers the largest Earth's surface. In social study, in standard 7, you still learn that the Earth or the world has got 7 continents. And these 7 continents, they are separated by oceans. And this ocean, mostly it is water. So you find that it covers the largest Earth's surface. If you look at Africa, it is surrounded by water. If you look at Europe, there, surrounded by water. Asia, by water. So you'll find that this water, it covers the largest Earth's surface. But if they ask you the most abundant component of environment, it is air. Remember, this air is still inside this water. So water, it forms 78% of the environment. It covers 75% of the Earth's surface. It covers 75% of the Earth's surface. And then we know this water, it is a common liquid. It is a common liquid. Why do we call it a common liquid? It is a common liquid because we use this water for cooking. Remember, there are some uses of water at home, in the farm, in industries, for transportation purposes. So you'll find that because it is found all over, okay, it covers the largest Earth's surface, and we use it for many, many other purposes. So we say it is a common liquid. And because it is a common liquid, when you are mixing some things like chemicals, when you are mixing some things, it is a topic in standard 7 under properties of matter. You will find that because it is common, we say that it is a universal solvent. It is a universal solvent. Universal solvent means majority of the soluble solids, they dissolve in water. If you take sugar or salt, you dissolve in diesel, you realize that it cannot disappear inside. It is insoluble there. But if you dissolve in water, it dissolves. That's why we say it is a universal solvent. That's why we use it when you're carrying out experiments. Water is available in 4 forms. Water in environment is available in 4 forms or appears in 4 forms. Okay, a little bit. Water in the environment appears in 4 forms. So it appears in 4 forms. The 4 forms it appears, 1, it appears in form of dew. Early in the morning, if you look at the grass, we have got dew in it. So water appears in form of dew. It appears as vapor. When the sun rises, the dew begins to evaporate. So this one, we call it water vapor. Water vapor is also known as steam. And then it also appears in form of snow. During winter season, water appears in environment in form of snow or ice. And then lastly, we know the main source of water is rain. So it can also appear in form of rain. So water appears in 4 forms. We have got dew, we have got vapor, we have got snow, and then rain. So it covers the largest part of the Earth's surface. And water, again, is used directly. It is used directly by both plants, and animals. By both plants and animals. So as I continue, you can realize that air is used directly by animals and plants. Water, again, is used directly by both plants and animals. When the rain showers or when it rains, these plants, they use this water. Water is necessary for germination. Condition necessary for germination, wow. We have got water. Water is necessary there. We have got air, which is necessary, or oxygen. And then we have got the last thing known as warmth. So you realize that these plants, they need this water directly. Animals, we quench our thirst directly by drinking water. So we use this water directly. And it was one of the KCP questions they asked, which 2 components of environments do plants and animals use directly? And the answer is air and water. So this water, it is a home or it is a habitat for aquatic animals. So aquatic animals, they live in water. And when they live there, they obtain oxygen from water itself because water has got what? Air in it. And then we have got another component of environment known as soil. This soil, because water covers 75% of the environment, soil covers the rest, which is 25% of the Earth's surface. Water, 75% of the Earth's surface, but soil, 25% of it. And then it is a home for small animals. You have got some animals that live in soil, like termites. We have got some animals like moles, squirrels, ants, the groundhogs, they live in soil. So because of time, I'm moving a little bit faster. So some animals that live there, we have got termites, we have got ants. When you talk about ants, the safari ants, we have got animals like moles, they live in soil. We have got some animals like groundhogs, they live in soil. And many, many more. Even earthworm, they live in soil. So it is a habitat for some animals. Soil, again, provides plants with the nutrients. Soil provides plants with the nutrients. Remember, plants anchor on the soil. Plants with the nutrients. So these nutrients, you learn in the topic about fertilizers with the nutrients. Nutrients, okay? And then it is used indirectly. Soil is used indirectly by human beings. Is used indirectly by human beings, not direct but indirectly by human beings. In short, we obtain the nutrients from soil when we eat plants that grow on it. So remember, nitrogen, it is fixed in the soil by these leguminous plants to make proteins. So we get those nutrients from that soil when we eat the plants like vegetables there. And then we go to another component of environment known as animals. Animals is a topic on its own, but I just want to brush about this component of environment known as animal. So animals, we know in standard 5, they are grouped into 2. The first one, we call them the vertebrates. Vertebrates are those animals that have backbone, and I believe the teacher that was here last week talked about these vertebrates and invertebrates. So invertebrates are those animals that do not have backbone. Vertebrates are animals that have got backbone. So some animals live in soil and some animals live in water. And then animals provide carbon dioxide. These animals, they provide carbon dioxide to plants. Animals provide carbon dioxide to plants. And then in other words, these plants also obtain oxygen in it. They give these animals oxygen. When animals give them carbon dioxide, the plants in return, they provide us with oxygen. So these animals, when they rot or its waste, the cow dung, the excreta, the solid waste matter excreta, when it rots, it becomes, or decays, it becomes manure. So these animals, they provide manure to the soil. And this manure, remember, they're the one that makes the soil fertile. And then animals are fewer than plants. Animals are fewer, very few, fewer than plants. That's why on a food chain, you will find that it is only the producers. The producers are the plants. They are the ones that begin there. Okay? And then the last one, I want to look at the other component of environment known as plants. Okay. Plants, under these plants, they are the major, or they are found in abundance. The major, because of time, I just want to highlight a little bit. They are major because they are found in abundance. They are the main producers in the food chain. And these plants, you will find, they assist us in different purposes. Plants are part of the major components of environment. Green plants provide food to animals, and then they act as producers for food chain. Plants help to conserve soil. These ones, they help to conserve soil because they hold the soil particles together, or they bind the soil particles together. The roots help to conserve soil. These plants also, you can realize, they can be used for medicinal purpose. They can be used for medicinal purpose. In fact, you'll find penicillium is obtained from plants. We make penicillin. Cinchona, it is a tree that is used to make quinine. Lemon balm is a medicinal plant. You will find that we have got aloe vera. It is also a medicinal plant. We have got many. Marubaini, or we call it neem tree. It is a medicinal plant. So we obtain medicine from it. And then lastly, you can find you have got eucalyptus. It is also a medicinal plant, eucalyptus. Allow me to stop there and answer some questions that you have posted. Because of time, allow me to go and answer some questions here. The first question goes like this. A little bit, I'm looking for it. Okay, the first question under animals, I can see they are still coming. Here they are. Number one, David from Kiambu. Why is air not the largest component? Air is not the, okay, it is not the largest component. Large, it is the most abundant. So it means it is the largest component. The largest component is air, but we say plants. Remember, it is not a living thing. So the main components of the living thing, the one that make environment to be complete, David, it is these living things, plants and animals. So that's why we don't group it as the largest component, but it's under the major. Okay, first of all, it is a major component. Major means large. It is under them. So air is a majority or major component of environment. It is among the largest component. But the things that make environment to be complete are the living things, plants and animals. Number two, the second question, it is Michael, is light a group of major component or minor component? Michael, as I said, the major components of environment, I believe you tuned in a little bit late. I say like this, the major components of environment, let me help you a little bit. We just have 5. You just write PASO. These are the main 5. If you just know these ones, the rest are minor. The first one is plants. The second one is air. The third one is soil. And then you have got, okay, this the second one I said animals. Let me just, and then I have got air here, and then I have got water. So if you just know the major components are 5 per so, these ones. The rest we group them as minor component. So is light a group of major component or minor component? Now my answer, I believe your question has been answered. Light is a minor component of environment. Hi teacher, I'm enjoying the lesson. Between water and air, which component covers the most part of the earth? Is it true that when a person, okay, there are 2 questions, 3 questions, so let me answer the first one. Hi teacher, I'm enjoying the lesson. Thank you for the compliment. Between water and air, which component covers the most part of the earth? Water covers, okay, you have not specified the earth. If it is the earth's surface, when they talk about the earth's surface, the word surface must be there. The one that covers the largest part of the earth's surface, we shall go for water. The one that is found all over, everywhere, is air. So when they say air, nearly everywhere, we go for air. When they say the surface, the keyword there is surface, chini. And remember I said, water is the one that separates the continents. So you'll find that water covers the largest Earth's surface. So, according to this question, which component covers the most part of the Earth? So because it is like that, the most part of the Earth, if it is the surface, Earth's surface, it is water. But ukiuliza if which component covers the largest part of environment, we shall go for air, because it is found everywhere in all other components. The second question, is it true that when a person lacks oxygen, he or she becomes blue? If you lack oxygen, it will result what we call suffocation. It means carbon dioxide will accumulate in your body and the blood vessels will dry up. When it dries up, you look blackish, okay? Enjoying the lesson, how comes plasma carries carbon dioxide and also vena cava carries carbon dioxide? And do they carry the carbon dioxide at the same? I am Helena from Nakuru. That's a good question. Plasma is the liquid part of blood. And because plasma, it helps in transporting everything except one. Plasma does not transport oxygen. Oxygen is transported by the red blood cells because of hemoglobin. So you'll find that this plasma, it carries carbon dioxide towards, because it is the blood, the liquid part of blood. And remember, vena cava carries deoxygenated blood. So this deoxygenated blood is the one that is rich in carbon dioxide. Oxygenated blood, as the name suggests, it has oxygen. So this carbon dioxide, it must come from all parts of the body towards the lungs so that you can remove it. So it is true to say vena cava carries carbon dioxide, and they carry them at the same time from the body, from the bloodstream, inakuja kwa vena cava, inaingia on the right auricle, and then ventricle pumps to the, okay, via pulmonary artery to the lungs, alafu sasa ndio inatoka. It's like that. Morning teacher, I'm Brittany from Isli. Does wind help in formation of rain? Formation of rain, it is a process. Wind can help. Remember, in social study, you learn about convectional rainfall and relief rainfall, how it is formed. So it is through that one, because you have got the land breeze and the sea breeze. It is okay to say like that. Hi teacher, how much % of carbon dioxide do we inhale and exhale? I said carbon dioxide, it is a waste gas from our body. Because air has got carbon dioxide, we breathe in 0.03% of carbon dioxide. And then because it is a waste gas from the body, we breathe out 4% of it. Oxygen, I said, it is a gas that is found in the air. Because oxygen occupies 21%, so we breathe in 21% of oxygen. The one that is used in the blood or in our body is only 5% of it. So in short, we breathe out 16% of carbon dioxide. I believe your question is answered. Hey teacher, I am Rebecca from Kisii. Between soil and water, which one covers the largest % of the Earth's surface? That's a good question, Rebecca from Kisii. The component of air between soil and water, I said water covers 75%. I believe I have not rubbed it. Here it is. It covers 75% of the Earth's surface. And then soil, it covers the rest, which is 25%. So according to your question, the answer becomes water because it covers 75%. Hi teacher, it's Bryson from Eldoret. Is moisture and dust part of environment? Yes, moisture is water. Moisture is water. Remember, humidity is the amount of water vapor. So moisture is water, so it is part of it. And then dust particle, it is a component of environment that changes or varies from time to time. So it is true, it is part of it. But we group them as, so moisture we group it as a major component, but dust we group it as a minor. I have 3 questions more. I am Zombo. Where is the extra carbon dioxide got if we take in 0.03 and take out 4% of carbon dioxide? I'm Zombo. Where is the extra carbon dioxide got if we take in 0.03 and take out, you wanted to say we breathe in 0.03 and take out 4% of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a waste gas, so that's why we breathe out a greater percentage than the one that we breathe in. So that one comes from the food we ate and everything. That's why we shall learn about respiration in standard 8. The breakdown of food by the help of oxygen to release carbon dioxide, and a certain thing we shall learn there. So that's why we breathe out a larger percentage. The second last one, hi teacher, I'm Mercy. Repeat uses of inert gases. Uses of inert gases. Helium is used in hot air balloon. Neon is used for advertisement on the Christmas tree. Those things that twinkle, twinkle, use of neon. Argon is used in the lighting of bulbs again, mostly fluorescent tube. Krypton and xenon. Xenon, as the name suggests, X. Mostly we use it for X-ray, but mostly they ask for the general use of these inert gases is used in lighting electric bulbs. So the general use of it. Hello teacher, how is xenon used? Xenon is used mostly, we have got many functions. Although it is not in the syllabus, but you can know it. Xenon is used in X-ray. X-ray is done in hospitals So when they want to conduct an X-ray, they use this gas known as xenon. Anyway, thank you for the questions and thank you for your time. Have a blessed day. Thank you.